Hi there, my name is Cole, and in today's video, the lighting is a little bit brighter than it should be. Really, what we're going to talk about in today's video is the Ferrari F40 LM, which I have built here in LEGO, and we're going to talk about how I built it, and how you can build it, and a bunch of other cool things. And look at that, look how cool that looks. No, well, there we go, it focused, yay. Alright, enough of my weird sense of humor. Alright, so as always, you can get the instructions for this at the website and Rebrickable at the link in the description below. They are well thought out and nice to follow, so should you like to build this, or this red version, which in my opinion is the rather boring version, you can build either one of these. The Ferrari F40 LM. Now, there's a chance that you follow me on Instagram, or that you watched the 20,000 subscriber special video last year, and you will remember me saying that, well, you probably either heard me say that the F40 LM is one of my favorite cars, or that it's my favorite car that I haven't built yet, besides the Diablo, which we'll get to eventually, very soon in fact. And so here it is. Now, if you follow the LEGO car building world at all, you'll know that the F40 is a very common build subject, I suppose we would say. Here are a couple examples of F40s that have been recreated in LEGO, and many of them are incredible. Now, I did not have particular motivation to take on building the F40 until, I don't know when, I guess I knew it existed for a while, but I saw the Pilot livery F40 again. Now, Pilot makes like markers and stuff, and I remember having a little set of Pilot markers as a kid, and even though I didn't draw any good art, and I still don't draw any good art, I thought it was incredibly cool to have a car sponsored by them. Now, okay, that's not the main reason. The main reason is blue and white, and it's really weird, and that's a really unusual color for an F40, the vast majority of which are red. It just looks sick in blue and white. And okay, the Pilot thing is kind of like a cherry on top, you might say. So yes, I decided to take it on. Maybe it's because I bought these skate decks, one of which is the F50 GT, the other which is this car, the F40 LM in the Pilot livery, and so I was like, hey, I have the F50 GT, I want to build the F40 LM. Actually, that reminds me, speaking of the F50 GT, about, what, 3 years ago now when I designed the F50 GT, I designed an F40 LM to go with it, and it looked like this. It looked kind of horrible. I'm not sure why the F50 GT actually looked so good for like a 3-year-old design, and this looks pretty goofy, and the F50 GT still holds up, bizarrely. So I don't know what's up with that model. I just did a good job, I guess. There's an old video on that if you'd like to look into that a bit more closely. Why don't you keep watching this one for now? Alright, let's get into the stuff. Why am I holding a pen? Let's get into the building part. You came here for LEGO. I'm sorry this is taking so long. So while there are many good normal F40 mocks, mock standing for my own creation, I like to use the word model because I don't like to confuse people, but I forget to. I had seen this model of an F40, not really an LM, technically just a heavily modified F40 by HCKP13, I believe he's known as, on Instagram and Flickr. And it's just a really sick tuned F40. I think it's 7 studs wide. And this was before the Liberty Walk F40 existed, so he kind of almost predicted it, which I think is interesting. I don't know, but I love how he uses the wedge plates for the headlight, because I feel like that these G-slopes, which everyone uses, relative with good reason for the standard F40s, which just have like exposed turn signals and like fog lights, I feel like they aren't nearly big enough for the very large and a little bit silly looking lights on the LM. Although combined with the full LM like aesthetic, the LM is the race car, the F40, which I forgot to mention. Non-car people, I guess, will not care. Car people who've already figured that out, so hopefully you agree with that. So when you combine these slightly goofy looking headlights with the upgraded front bumper and the big wing and the big diffuser and some wheels and some vents, I think it is a really sick, super aggressive looking package. Just visually one of my favorite cars of all time. Alright, I'm sorry I'm going off of like a million tangents in this video. Let's actually get into the build. So like I said, I liked HCKP13's wedge plate headlights, and so that's what I want to start with. Now, the build for this model was absolutely one of the my least favorite ways of building a model, which is not entirely in studio and not entirely in real life, but building some stuff in studio, then trying to build it in real life to make sure it works, then fixing the design in studio with the real life design, and then continuing to do that. And if you're like me and you don't have any parts sorted, you barely have any parts sorted, this is an incredibly long and, excruciating process, and it's just a pain. So this was not a very fun design experience. However, I am extremely happy with the final model. I have this like group of my favorite models that I always take pictures of together. This includes the Murcielago, the Barracuda, the F50 GT, the F1 GTR, and this is definitely in that group. Alright, somehow I'm still yapping. I should actually get to the actual building thing here finally. The front bumper, let's start with that. It's actually upside down. It's using bricks to build it in many different directions, including downwards, sideways, backwards, and upwards? There might not be any upwards building on this. There's forwards building. There's a lot of weird building on this bumper. It connects to the main body with some of these cool bar and plate pieces, and this is just a really goofy assembly. It's kind of, this whole model, the stability is dubious, I guess. I think is the correct use of the word dubious? I don't know. But it's not very good. Let's put it that way. It's fine. Like, you can pick it up and stuff, but it does have bits that'll like get knocked out of place depending on how you pick it up. So don't build this if you want a nice, like, solid model. Go build one of the many other F40s that exist. This one is just there if you want the pilot one, because so far it's the only Lego pilot one. Above that, we have the aforementioned wedge plate headlights, which I am a huge fan of. Now, these are connected to this kind of assembly, which is hinged forward on a robot arm. This has a kind of weird assembly that it all like sits on, so it's somewhat lined up. There is a bit more of a gap over behind the headlights here than I would like. I'm not sure, that probably could be fixed, but I don't really care about it enough to fix it, so yeah. We have this front intake, which is somewhat lazily just based around the hinge that holds on the front. The real F40 LM has an intake here that just has like a thing going through the center, and so this robot arm is just blue to kind of represent that center thingy. Now, this model is in normal Lego blue, which is actually the first car that I've built in this color, and I must say, I really like it. It's kind of a normal color compared to a lot of cars that I build, but it looks really good, especially with the white contrast. Moving back, we have the sides, which were an absolute nightmare to come up with. Starting with the bottom, the whole chassis of this model is kind of in two chunks, the front and then the middle and rear. This upside down tile that forms part of the side skirts separates them. There are more upside down tiles on the sides that form the rest of the side skirts. On top of that, we have this big multiple direction build assembly that just kind of swings outward using various parts. I don't really care about illegal building, but this is pushing it for me. But I just want this model to look good. We're just building it. Everybody else is building F40, so I'm like, this one better just look good on us. I should mention the racing livery, which is again rather abstract, I suppose. I've done this before on the McLaren F1 GTRs right here, where I kind of take a livery and just really simplify it because I don't really want to bother doing stickers, and I would like to represent the livery in some way, so I kind of just get the same effect of the colors by sticking on some parts. This might be able to use a little bit more white around the side here to represent the pens on the side of the car, but I couldn't really figure out any way to get the lines that thin, so I figured this is a good abstract representation. I don't know. You could add more white to it if you like. Then we have these bits that kind of slope down from the back. These are attached using robot arms and such, and they just angle downwards here. This is again very rough assembly. Moving around to the back, which I think is actually my favorite part of this car. I don't know, I'm really happy how the front turned out, but the back was super fast to put together. The front took a lot of tries. The back came together like in a day, and I think it looks pretty sick. It looks a bit tall at first, but actually I think it's a bit shorter than some of my cars. We have the diffuser, the triple exhaust from the F40. The taillights are using this assembly, which I thought was very cool. I thought it just looks cool, besides allowing me to get the center bits of the lights in there. We have the center divider thingy, which is just a tile. There's a lot of asymmetrical building going on in here. The bottom part of the bumper is attached upside down also. And then the wing is attached a bit in a bit of a obtrusive manner, I suppose. There's a lot of wing attachment here as opposed to the real car, but it is based on this F40 LM, which I believe has the GTE wing and not the normal LM wing. It also has the center thingy coming down, which is way too thick, but I like the way it looks. It kind of represents that, so I'm keeping it. Moving ahead of that, we have the engine cover, which is very similar to the Murcielago engine cover. And on the sides, it has these extremely dubious quality connection tiles, which actually fit in there quite nicely. And the connection is fine. It's just like, that piece isn't supposed to be angled like that. Under this, there's a lot of just random stuff going on. There is barely an interior. The real car has a red interior, which is kind of cool. It has red seats at the very least, so we have a red seat. It only has one seat actually, because it's a race car. So, steering wheel, gear shifter, nothing too crazy, but it is there. This car does not fit minifigures. It would be rather difficult and kind of not very pretty to try and fit one in there, so I'm not going to bother. I don't usually bother, as you guys know, if you've seen my videos before. But that is it for now, so thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. Like I said, instructions are available in the description. That's all I have to say for now. So thank you so much for watching again, and I hope you'll come back for the next video. Or I hope you'll go watch some old videos. Either way, it's cool.